If you're watching this video, you're probably new to processing, or you've been playing around with it in class and you're a little bit anxious about what you know. You're not ready to completely jump in and start writing your own code. And we want you to just start playing with code. That's some of the first steps in learning how to write code, is just playing with it. So if you're already comfortable writing your own code, then you probably want to jump right into the P vectors rather than watching this video. But let's get you started with this. We're going to give you some tips on just kind of how to just open up some code and start to learn about what that code might do. And it always starts with just having some code that's kind of cool looking. This is a sketch that I grabbed. You can see it running there. I'm not doing anything right now, I'm just watching it. But as I start to play around on my keypad, my little mouse pad there, ooh, cool. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Quite addicting. You want to keep doing it. So this sketch, which I can't claim I know a lot about, I just grabbed this sketch, but there's some cool things happening in it to make it do that. We're seeing a lot of motion, and we're going to start talking about motion in our class and some of the physics behind it. And as you look at this, there's a lot of stuff going on, and you might say, I don't have the first idea of what's going on. Then this is probably a good video for you to watch because it's about learning about these things. That's pretty cool. So what we're going to have you do is start grabbing some sketches and playing with them and just kind of poking around and just kind of hack at them until you start understanding what the sketch is doing. That's the point of this first activity with you, is just getting you comfortable with going in and messing around and seeing if you can figure out what's going on. So to do that, we're going to have you start with going to processing. So here we are on processing.org. And on that main screen, you can go down here to examples. I'll click on examples and it brings you to this screen for examples. And then if you go down in examples, you can see there's a whole bunch of different examples in here. Now I'm going to pick on one that I know has some motion in it. It's called pulses. There it is. And usually right in here it'll show me what's going on. This one's either trying to load or it's not going to show me, so I'm going to give up. And just show you, I'm just going to grab the code right here. Just copy this. Get that copied. And I'm just going to paste it into a sketch. So I'm going to go back to my processing. And since I already have one open, I'm just going to open a new one. If not, I would just open up my processing and stick it in there. So I'm going to get a new one, and I'm just going to paste it in there. Boom. And then I'm going to run it, see what it does. And so far it doesn't look like it's doing anything. So I'm going to start playing with it. I'll get on my keypad and move my keypad around, nothing happening. But when I click, things are starting to happen now. Okay, so that's what this thing does. Don't know how it's doing it. I haven't even looked at the sketch. But that's what it's doing. So what we want you to do is when you see things like that is to go in and hack on it. Just kind of play around with it and see if you can start figuring out what's making things happen. And at first when you look at it, it can be very overwhelming. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know what void draw does. I've never heard of that void setup. What's this void thing all about? And it can be very, very, very intimidating. But the easiest thing to do is just to go in and say, like, okay, there's some numbers going on here. If I change some numbers, what's going to happen? So I'll pick on this one. It says 640. I can type in 200. See what happens. Boom. Oh, made the screen size different. Okay, all right. Looks like that makes the screen size different. If I go bigger than 640, what would that be? Like if I went 800. Oh, okay. All right. So that looks like it's affecting the width of the screen size. I'm going to put it back to 640. I did a couple things there. I was curious, so I picked on something I want to choose to play with, and I only picked on one change. I didn't make more than one change. I checked it out, I played with it, and then I put it back to the original, and I'm going to now check to see, yep, it's how it was in the very beginning. So that's how I'm going to hack away at this to learn about it. And now I see that this has something to do with that, what we call a palette size. Okay. No stroke, I don't know what that means. Is there supposed to be something in there? I don't know. You could try putting something in there. Fill, I don't know what that means. I have no idea. I'm just going to start playing with stuff. Like down here, it says mouse pressed equals true. Okay. Well, what if it said mouse press equals false? Wonder what's going to happen. So I'll put it in there. I only made one change. Click it. I'm not doing anything. I see something in the upper left-hand corner happening. Not much else is happening, so I'm just going to start. Oh, I'm not clicking on the pad, by the way. You can't see that, so I'm telling you. So now things are happening without me clicking. What if I click? Now I'm clicking and dragging and nothing's happening. Oh, okay. It's the reverse. Okay. So when it says true, I have to click to make it happen. When it says false, I don't have to. I'm going to put it back to true. All right, I learned something there. There's the true. I learned something, that this has something to do with the input. Angle equals plus 5. What if I said angle equals plus 50? I don't know. Let's see what happens. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if maybe you can tell, but I'm not sure I can tell much difference. I don't know. So I'm going to get drastic. What if it's 500? No, it's an angle. I think I'm going to use my geometry and stay under 360 just because I don't know otherwise. I'll say 200. I'm not sure I can tell. I'm not seeing any little ones this time. Maybe it has to do with that. But, oh, I'm going to put it back to what it was. What was it? 5, that's right. I actually forgot. I'm going to run it again. It's back to doing what it was doing. And I'm still not sure if I could tell what that number was doing. That's okay. I'm taking some trigonometry. Are you? And I know that there's things called sine and cosine, and I'm seeing right here a cosine. And I wonder if I make that tangent. Now, you might not know what tangent is. That's fine. But if you've taken some trigonometry, you might say, hey, I've heard of tangent. What if I make that a TAN for tangent and I run this thing? Ooh, there's something different happening. I can't explain to you why it's happening. I haven't studied the code enough. And maybe you can, maybe you can't. It's not the point of this. The point is just to find locations in the sketch to see where you're affecting things, where you're making some changes. It helps you get comfortable with the code. And I'm going to put it back to what it was, run it. I'm back to where I was. So again, just grabbing some code, trying to learn about how the code is changing things and what effects it has, and it just helps you get comfortable with the code. When we write code, we often grab code to begin with. And whenever you grab someone's code, you have to get a little bit comfortable with it so you know what part you're trying to hack. And the best way to do that is to start playing with their code. Remember, if you totally screw it up, just start over. Just copy and paste the original code back in. So what we're going to have you do with this first activity is we want you to go grab 3 different sketches. We're going to have you go back to processing.org, to the examples. We're going to have you grab 3 different sketches, and I recommend that you go down here under motion. These have motion in them, and we want you looking at sketches that have motion. Here's one called linear. Not very exciting. I hope you choose something more exciting than this. But the idea is to look at that code, copy and paste it in, start playing with it until you get a feel for what some of the things are happening. And then we're going to have you explain to us what's happening. The way we're going to have you do that is you're actually going to do a video shot of your screen work, just like I did for you in this. And then you're going to submit that. So again, you're going to do this with 3 different sketches. You're going to go in and change code and talk about the changes you're seeing so you can start to say, oh, it looks like this is affecting this and this is affecting this. You're going to do that with 3 different sketches. And we want that video to be at most 12 minutes long. So looking at 3 different 12 minutes long. And like me, you're going to have to take some tries at doing this. My first attempt at showing these screen videos is not what you're seeing. I've practiced this, and you'll have to practice yours also to make sure you're under that 12 minutes. Okay? There'll be a video you can watch. It talks about how do I do that screen video and how do I submit it. I won't do it with you right now, but that's the next video you can watch. Okay? All right. Thanks for watching, and have fun hacking.